So here is the Polar Loop. This highly anticipated device is Polar's answer to the new focus on screenless wearables. Polar announced the release of the Loop months ahead of its September 3rd debut, but for me, the story of the Loop goes back even a bit further. Back about a year ago in October of 24, I was set to receive a device from Polar for testing and was puzzled when I got this in the mail instead. Now, of course, I immediately put it on, did some initial testing, and made a video about it. Just couldn't help myself. So, did I receive this device as an innocent mistake from Polar, or was my inability to resist making YouTube content known by them and they wanted some free feedback on the reception of what would become the Loop? I guess we'll never know. Back then, the device was known as the Polar 360. It was made with budget materials and was only for business customers. I knew it could be a success for Polar if they brought it straight to consumers, and many in the comments section agreed. I also naively said this: would you buy a device like this? I mean, we're talking a plastic housing for a sensor on a nylon strap. I have no idea what this could cost, but if I were to take a guess, it's definitely under $100, let's say 79, maybe 69, something like that. Although maybe if they did come out with a consumer version, it would be with higher end materials and sold at more of a margin, and yet they definitely went that route. We'll talk about the actual Loop price in just a moment. So the Loop did become a reality. So let's take some time to dive in and see how it stacks up to the growing competition in the screenless wearable segment. Let's go ahead and get right on back to the price. The Polar Loop retails at $199. There's no ongoing subscription here. You buy it once and you have it. So that's already a point up on the leader of the product segment. The very well established Whoop band starts at $199 per year ongoing and gets all the way up to $360 per year. But on the other end of the spectrum, we can't ignore the up and coming Amazfit with their Helio strap. The Helio strap retails in at just $99 and also carries no ongoing subscriptions. So Polar's kind of right in the middle of these two products, and there are more coming up all the time. While I think the price is a little bit steep, overall the price mostly rings true when considering the quality of the hardware and where Polar is trying to position themselves in the market. So let's talk hardware then. I got the grayish sand version sent to me, but there are also night black and brown copper colorways, and you also have the option to just kind of mix and match and customize it however you see fit. And there's also a navy blue strap available if you go that route as well. When you unbox the Polar Loop, you see that you get your sensor. This is Polar's Precision Prime sensor, by the way, with the Gen 3.5 optical heart rate sensor, so you're getting high quality readings here. You can also see you get two straps here, the smaller one measuring in at about 9.5 inches, the larger measuring in at 11.25 inches. Now I have a 17 centimeter or 6 3/4 inch wrist, and the smaller one fit me just fine. I could wear the large one in a pinch if I had to. I think if you have a 7 to 7.25 inch wrist, then you're kind of in that nice sweet spot, and you get two straps that you could wear any day included with your purchase. Now you also get this loop buckle, which is how you feed the strap through, and it can actually easily be moved from one strap to the other, but stays well put when you aren't trying to move it. Honestly, it's a pretty clever design. I often think that Polar has some of the nicest and understated designs in the fitness industry, particularly considering some of the more over-the-top designs that other brands lean towards. Now moving on to battery life, Polar states that the Loop will last for 8 days on a charge. I can see that after hitting the 8-day mark, I still have 10% battery left on mine, so it's good to see a device surpassing the official spec sheet. When you need to charge, you use the proprietary charging cable that's included with the Loop, and it's the same that you'll find on other recent devices like the Vantage M3 here. Diving into a few other specs, the sensor itself has a stainless steel portion on the top, and the top feed-through lug area is stainless steel as well, so you know it's going to be nice and durable. The back is plastic, and that will help with comfort and keeping the overall unit light. The Loop is very comfortable to wear and easily disappears on the wrist. Now the Loop sensor itself weighs in just under 20 grams, and with the small size wristband, it tips the scales just under 30 grams. It is very light. Without any buttons, the Loop has water resistance rating at 30 meters, so you don't have to worry about it while swimming or even snorkeling. Just don't take it to the depths with your scuba tank. Okay, so let's talk about the overall vision for this product. When a company sends out a product to a reviewer, they often accompany it with some information about the product itself, some stuff that the marketing team might come up with, or spec sheets, stuff like that. I was so impressed with what Polar had to say about the Loop. So they're basically saying they produced the first wearable sensor over 30 years ago. And I did that with the vision that one day we'd have these devices that we could be wearing all the time to monitor our health and well-being and help guide us. But slowly these devices have started to demand our attention. The beeps, the buzzes, the bright displays, they became just another screen pulling your attention away from what really matters. I won't keep going with the whole thing, but this sort of message really resonates with me, and I plan to elaborate on this topic more in a separate video, but basically, I get it. Trying to stay focused, stay unplugged, be present, these are all things I'm really trying to move towards more and more in my life. And Polar gets it. Polar gets me. So now that we understand the loop itself and Polar's vision for the loop, let's hop into the app to see how we can use all this data that it generates to help us live our best lives. So you see all the data from the loop in the Polar Flow app. When you first open this app, you see that it looks, well, we'll say a bit dated to keep things pleasant for now. You get your device card on top, some status reports for your training load, activity goal, you get some sleep metrics here too, nightly recharge, boost some sleep, your sleep time. Everything's kind of text-based on this front page here, but honestly, it shows most of the metrics you'd be after in a fitness tracker. You can also start activities from the app. The loop can automatically detect activities if you'd like, and you can adjust sensitivity of the auto detection up and down for your preferences. And afterwards, you can go into the Flow app to change activity type if you want to accurately log what you were doing. And there's a ton of activity profiles as well. I don't think they have much to really differentiate them, but should you want to use your phone's GPS, you could also track distance as well. So you could take it out and go running and whatnot. So whereas this top layer of the Flow app is extremely text heavy, when you dive into the next layer on any of these metrics, you start to see the true colors of the Flow app. And I guess pretty much literally, everything becomes very colorful and graphical, but still somehow not very informative in any sort of intuitive manner. So let's take a look at cardio load here as an example. I touch it to go in, and I'm told once again I'm maintaining, and I'm also shown a graph with no labels or explanation. Nothing you see on the screen right now can be touched upon to show any kind of values. You're just seeing these colors and lines and colors down at the bottom. Now, I can touch the top corners to expand the graph to see it in landscape and basically just get more confused because you're just looking at the same thing just stretched out and there's no more information actually. I could touch on the upper left information icon in the top left and scroll through 5 different pages of information to understand what's being displayed here. Training load, or as Polar is showing here, cardio load, is a very valid and standard metric to be tracking, and their stress and tolerance more or less corresponds with acute training load and chronic training load. But the way it's presented is just so confusing and cumbersome. I can't get anywhere from here. I can't touch on the activities that cause the load. I can't even see the load numbers on this graph. And this is just indicative of so many functions around the app. It's really a mess. The app definitely shows its age here, and I said as much when I reviewed the Vantage M3 a year ago, and really, like, nothing's changed. Some areas can be touched for more information, some can't. The different areas of the app don't really connect to each other. You can't really decipher what's what, and it's not really apparent where you should be putting your focus. Now, in fairness, Polar has said they're aware the app needs some work. They're working on a complete upgrade to the Polar Flow app. And I think it's very literally a shame that they launched the Loop, a device so reliant on using the Flow app, without having this update ready to go to market. But for now, let's even put that all aside and take a step back to the Loop itself. So the Loop, as a standalone device, could really be seen as a Whoop competitor. If Polar was, say, like a new company on the scene and this was their debut product, they had a revamped app that functioned very well and looked like it was designed after their 2005, then it would be pretty solid, to be honest. I mean, maybe a little bit expensive, but it all kind of lines up. It would seem great, like in a vacuum in that kind of scenario. But the Loop isn't in a vacuum, and Polar has many other wearables already. So how do these products all work together? Well, they kind of do, but they kind of don't. So if you're an existing Polar customer, you'd want to wear your Loop, let's say like to sleep, and maybe day to day if you wanted to wear a mechanical watch, or you just not have another screen, and then you swap to your Polar watch to track a GPS activity, or whenever you feel like wearing it. And yeah, that seems kind of like the vision you'd have when you get one of these to go alongside your watch. But Well, you can't, at least not in the seamless fashion that I just described. You can't have two devices syncing to Flow at the same time. You have to manually swap your active device from the app each time you change it. Now, this would be fine if you're buying one watch to another watch every few years, but if you're doing it on a daily basis, maybe even multiple times a day, I mean, to be honest, that's just a pain in the ass and poor planning of the user experience. Now, I will note that after doing some digging, this seems to be an issue only in the Android version of the app. So I guess the iOS app is able to just kind of swap back and forth when you put it on, like basically the way it should be, but the poor green bubble boys are being neglected once again. So can the devices at least work together? I mean, Polar makes great heart rate sensors and the Precision Prime is a good sensor. So can you wear the Loop as an external heart rate sensor while doing an activity? No, you cannot. The Loop cannot broadcast heart rate for any other device. It can handle a single Bluetooth connection, and that's only to your mobile phone. Okay, well, can you at least wear the Flow on your upper arm and get it off your wrist? I mean, unofficially, yeah, you can do whatever you want. I've done that, and the Flow fits perfectly on the Coros armband, and it works just fine tracking heart rate and sleep in that position. If you're tracking a run without distance and just using cardio stats, then it will track the training load just fine. It will, of course, have a lower step count by a bit if it's supposed to be on the wrist and if it's not tracking any sort of, elbow-based movement versus entire arm movement, but it would work. But if we go by what Polar says, the official answer is no. Wear it on the wrist. It's designed to be worn on the wrist. The metrics are generated and calibrated in a wrist-worn position. So what exactly are existing Polar customers to think here? They can't use it with any of their existing devices. They're expected to manually swap their active device each day if they have an Android phone. I mean, it just seems... At this point, we have to at least take a little side glance to look at the Helio strap I mentioned earlier by Amazfit. I don't want to go on about it for too long here, but I'll say the device has official support and first-party accessories so that it can be worn on the wrist or the upper arm. It can be synced in the Zepp app, which is Amazfit's mobile app, while other devices are also connected, so you could have a watch connected and the Helio strap connected as well. It can broadcast heart rate, so it can be used as an external heart rate sensor, not only for Amazfit watches, but any other watch with Bluetooth. It also has a vibration motor and a built-in alarm function, which I find pretty nifty. If you're going to be wearing it to sleep, it could also wake you up. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, it's half the price of the Polar Loop at just $99. So I have to be honest, I'm struggling to see the vision for this product. The write-up in the media guide had me so amped up and I thought that I saw the vision, but then reality set in with my actual experience. The Loop doesn't work, officially at least, anywhere but your wrist. The Loop doesn't work as an external heart rate sensor to broadcast your heart rate, which I feel is a real big missed opportunity. Polar Flow doesn't support having more than one device connected for syncing at a time, and if you're on an Android device, then you're manually swapping it every single time you switch your device. Too much of the Loop experience is through Flow, and the Polar Flow app just doesn't look good or function intuitively, at least for now. Now, I think there's still hope for the Loop because as an actual hardware device, it does what it's supposed to in a reliable and competent manner. The design is good, versatile even. The overall metrics that Polar generates with the Loop are reliable, good, valid training metrics. The Loop just needs an actual business strategy behind it. Just making it and having it thrown into the current Polar ecosystem and app just isn't enough, and I'm pretty surprised that Polar thought that that would work. So here's the thing. Polar is literally the OG of fitness wearables. They made the first one. I really hope they get things sorted, find their way. The mobile app redesign is a huge success, and we can see them as a major player in the fitness technology industry for many years to come. If you have a Loop, please let me know if I missed anything in my time testing it. If you're a dedicated Polar customer, and I know there's a lot of you out there, please let me know what I'm missing about Polar Flow. The app, the web version is pretty good, I have to say, but the app, oh man. And speaking of that, if you think the Loop is worth another look when the big app update finally makes it to market, then let me know that as well. And hey, if you stayed around to the end of the video, you're a real one and I appreciate the hell out of you. As always, I'm Dave and this is Dave Does Fitness. Have an awesome day and stay fit.